Hello everyone, I'm Simona and today I would like to tell you one of my favorite kindness stories. It's called The Mitten. Long ago, there was a boy who loved playing in the snow during winter. He loved going outside and making snowballs and throwing them. He loved making snowmen. He loved making angels in the snow. But every time he would come back home with his hands half frozen. He didn't have a pair of gloves, he didn't have a pair of mittens. And so he would just play in the snow with his bare hands. And one day his grandma told him, "I'm going to knit a pair of mittens for you. What color would you like them?" Thought the boy. What color? What color? Red? Said Grandma. No, I don't want them red, said the boy. Blue? Said Grandma. No, I don't want them blue. All of my friends have them blue. I don't want them blue. Green? Said Grandma. No, not green. Yellow? No, not yellow. Grandma, I know. I want them white. Please, make me a pair of white mittens. White, said Grandma, but white is the color of the snow. If you lose one, you'll never be able to find it again. Oh, Grandma, please, I want them white. Oh, please make them white. All right, said Grandma. And so Grandma started knitting, and she knitted, and she made a pair of white mittens. They were beautiful, and the boy wore them, and he loved his pair of white mittens. And he went outside to play, and he played. He made snowballs, he threw them, he made snowmen, he made the angel in the snow. And then, at some point, the wind started blowing, and it blew so much that one of the mittens flew away. It started flying, and the boy started following the mitten, trying not to lose it, but it was hard, and the mitten blew and flew, and it fell down on the snow. White mitten on white snow. And the boy tried to find the mitten, but he couldn't find it anywhere. But something else was moving in the woods. Something hopping here and there with long ears. A white rabbit. And the white rabbit was so cold, it was so cold outside. And the white rabbit saw the mitten, and the white rabbit thought, "It looks so warm." The white rabbit went inside the mitten, and it was so warm in the mitten. And then another creature came, a creature who couldn't see but felt the mitten. It was so cold outside, the mitten seemed warm. And the mole looked inside the mitten. He couldn't see very well, but he saw the white rabbit. And the mole said, "Well, it's so cold out here, as cold as can be. Is there space in the mitten for someone like me?" The white rabbit, the white rabbit knew that it was so cold outside. It said, come in. So the mole went in, and the mitten became even bigger. And then another creature flying outside. Oh, it was so cold outside. The owl flew down, seeing the mitten, and it was so cold outside. The mitten looked warm, and the owl looked inside the mitten, and the owl saw the white rabbit and the mole. But it was so cold outside, the owl asked, "It's so cold out here, as cold as can be. Is there space in the mitten for someone like me?" And the white rabbit and the mole looked at the owl. They saw the talons and the beak, but it was so cold outside. They said, come in, come in. And the owl went in, and it was so warm in the mitten. And the mitten grew bigger. And then another animal came, an animal with long spikes. Hedgehog came and it saw the mitten. It was so cold outside. The mitten looked warm. And Hedgehog looked inside the mitten, and Hedgehog saw the white rabbit, the mole, the owl. And it said, well, it's so cold out here, as cold as can be. Is there space in the mitten for someone like me? And the animals inside the mitten looked at the hedgehogs and the spikes, but it was so cold outside. The mitten was warm. Come in, they said. And the hedgehog went in and ouch, 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 said the other animals. Oh, sorry, said the hedgehog. I didn't want to hurt you, but it's so warm inside the mitten. And then another animal saw the mitten. It was Badger, and Badger came softly. And another animal saw the mitten. It was Fox. And Badger and Fox looked at each other. And they looked at the mitten. It was so cold outside. The mitten looked warm. And so Badger and Fox opened the mitten and they looked inside. They saw the white rabbit. They saw mole. They saw owl. They saw hedgehog. And they looked at each other and they asked, it's so cold out here, as cold as can be. Is there space in the mitten for someone like me? And the animals inside, they looked at Badger with its claws, and they looked at Fox with its teeth. But it was so cold outside, and the mitten was warm. Come in, they said. And so Badger and Fox went inside the mitten, and the mitten grew even bigger with all of the animals inside. And then another animal came, big animal, a bear walking in the snow. The bear saw the mitten. It was so cold outside. The mitten looked warm, and bear looked inside the mitten. And bear saw the white rabbit, the mole, the owl, the badger, the fox, and the hedgehog with the spikes. And bear said, it's so cold out here, as cold as can be. Is there space in the mitten for someone like me? And the animals were a bit scared of bear. And bear was so big. Could he fit in the mitten? But it was so cold outside, and they said, come in. And so bear went inside the mitten, and the mitten grew even bigger and bigger and stretched to fit all of the animals were snuggling inside. It was so warm inside the mitten. And then there came another animal, a small mouse. And the small mouse went to the mitten looked warm, and the small mouse said, oh, it's so cold out here, as cold as can be. Is there space in the mitten for someone like me? And the animals, well, they looked around. There was not enough space. I'm so small. I can fit anywhere, really. And the animals said, come in. And so the little mouse went inside, but there was not enough space other than on the nose of the bear. And so the little mouse sat there trembling, and his tail moved on the nose of the bear, and the bear sneezed, and up flew the mitten in the sky, and up flew the mitten. And down came, tumbling down, the animals. The little mouse, the big bear, the fox, the badger, the hedgehog, the owl flew away. The mole and the rabbit. And down flew the mitten. Down flew the mitten. And it fell at the feet of the boy was looking for his mitten still. And the boy took the mitten, looked at the mitten, put it on his hand, but, well, it was so big now. Whatever happened to his mitten? But the boy was happy to have found it again. And so he ran back home. He ran to his grandma and said, "Look, Grandma, look! I had lost my mitten, but I found it again. And now I wonder, what story can this mitten tell?" Thank you very much for listening. Spread the kindness, spread the joy.